Hello everyone, DJ Amapola here. I'm about to present to you something, but actually I'm gonna go straight to the presentation because it's like the third time that I start this video, and I end up going nowhere if I don't have this script that I have prepared right here in front of me. So basically, once again, I'm DJ Amapola. I'm a professional marketer who has been delving into programming for the last 5 years or so. And every chance I get, I try to come up with some easy script that helps me out in my daily tasks. As you know, for example, in this case, what brings us here is this script that I've created to help me organize the samples that I download from Splice. I'm an indie producer, or I've been trying to create my own music since, let's say, February this year. I've been DJing for the last 2 years, but I started making my own tracks on February 2026. And ever since, I've been having such an issue with the organization of the samples that I download from Splice. So basically, if you're using an Apple computer, and if you are a Splice user, and moreover, if you're an Ableton user, this is the place where you'd like to be, I guess, if you want to use the script that I'm about to show. We're right here in Santa Marta, Colombia. That's where I live at the moment, but as the digital nomad that I am, I will probably be out of this country by October this very, very year. When? Well, I just said it. It's actually July 26th. It's a Saturday. You can see that in my upper right corner in my computer. Why? Well, once again, because I like trying to, come up with these crazy ideas for small scripts that help me out in my daily tasks. And how? In this case, once again, through a script that we're about to see. So if you're all happy with that, let's move on to the intro. Okay, so what is this folder all about? Basically, at the top level of your Apple computer, of your operating system, you have this folder, with the different, well, it's not actually a folder, it's just a window showing you which are your hard drives, right? Like, for example, this kitty thing, it's my external drive, and then we have the internal hard drive right here. If you go in there and then you go to users and you go to whatever user you've used to make your installation of Splice, you will find this folder here called Splice, which is the standard folder where Splice download everything that you download, so to speak, from Splice. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the way it is. So basically, within this folder, you will have your presets and you will have your sounds. And within your sounds, you will have packs, and probably within packs, you have, as I do, such a mess, such a chaos. And this is the chaos that we are about to get tidy and pretty and beautiful, and hopefully in such a way that it helps you out to, first of all, get rid of everything that you don't use anymore, or that you have probably never used in your life, and it's still, yes, occupying some space within your hard drive, which shouldn't be so. So anyway, all in all, that's what this script is all about, okay? And going back to the little script that I have created, not to lose track of what I'm saying. Why are you seeing this, and what will you get out of this video? So basically, you're not only gonna get the instructions on how the script works itself and how to work it out, because at this point, it's a very premature version, so to speak. So at this point, you're gonna need to run the script itself on terminal, on Apple's terminal. At some point, I would like to do some auto-executable. Sorry, English is not my first language, in case you haven't noticed so far. But try to bear with me because I'm trying to do this. I'm trying my best. So all in all, once again, at this point, the version of this script must be run through Apple's terminal. Okay. At some point, I intend to do some sort of file that you can execute by double-clicking on it. But at the moment, besides the instruction of how to run the script itself, you're gonna get a bit of a bonus. You can see the number 6 right there in the bottom left corner of my screen. You're gonna get a sample of my ritual, an example of my ritual, showing you how I order my tracks and how, well, not my tracks but my samples, and well, hopefully it will be helpful for you if you're struggling with the organization of your files yourself. All right, so we're gonna skip over the pain points and what the script does, because I think that we have covered it in the last part, and we're gonna jump straight into the what's in the package. The package, as you download it, will come in this zip file, and the contents of it will look as it follows. Basically, you will find the license txt, which it's an MIT license, which means that you can do whatever you want with the software as long as you credit the author, which in this case is me. Then you will find the CSV sample that we're gonna be having a look at very, very soon, because it's the result of what the running the script itself does. The script is this JavaScript file right here. Then you will find instructions, like, in a very schematic manner. And you will also find a PDF guide, which that does not only include the instructions themselves, but also some advice in the way that I organize my files, etc. So all in all, basically, and actually this JSON file, which is a product, so to speak, of running the script, and actually it takes the last run, the last execution date of the script, so that every time that you run it, it will not, it will move from that date on. So basically, the script takes into account the information registered in the JSON files, so that once you run it twice, like let's say, I don't know, 1 week apart, it will only take the new files that you have downloaded in that week, and not all the previous one, because that'd be pretty much useless. So all in all, this is what the package content is. And hopefully in the next part, we are going to get down to the pre-requirements first, prerequisites. I don't know if that's a word in English, but probably pre-requirements, like that. And yep, we're gonna go through this in the next part. And then finally, we'll be running the script for the first time. So basically, up till now, it's been a description, but actually I think that it's good for you to know what all these files are, in case that you want to make use of them. Actually, let's take a look at the CSV. I have it right here. Actually, it's opening twice, but that's okay. See, this is basically what you're going to find within. Okay, when you run your script, you will generate a CSV files like this, and you will have the file name. Let me zoom in so that you can actually have a real look. You will have the file names of every sample that you have within your Splice folder, within the whatever path we've seen in the last part of the video. Actually, the full path is here. So basically, it's Splice, sounds, packs, and then whatever folders the download creates itself, and finally the modified date, which matches the modified date in the JSON that we have just seen. And finally, if you use Ableton, it will tell you if the ASD file exists. And if it does exist, that means that you have already used it in a project in Ableton. So basically, for example, I haven't used all of these, so basically, I don't probably want to have them within my hard drive at all. And that will be that for now. Let's move on. Cool. So we're going to move on to the pre-requirements, and we're going to make sure that you guys have everything that you need to run the thing. And basically, besides the content of the packets that you will have downloaded by now, you're going to be needing something called Node. Okay, and if you don't know how to install Node, I'm going to leave you guys a link in the description to a video where you can actually learn how to install it on a Macintosh, on an Apple, because it's kind of easy, but at the same time, it will take us a bit longer, and this video is already quite long. So once you have the package, well, actually, the only thing that I'm going to show you is, first of all, how to get to the terminal, in case that I would do like so, right? Because I have this Quicksilver thing, which I highly recommend. But if you don't have that, you just go to your applications, and at the very end, alphabetically order, you should be able to find the terminal somewhere here. Actually, actually, I think it's in utilidades, utilities. Sorry, yeah, right here. Okay, so applications, utilities, and then you go to a terminal. Also, if you press Command and space, not having the Quicksilver tool that I do have, you can always write here terminal, and you will find it right away. Command and plus will help you enlarge those letters, and basically in here you will be surfing, so to speak, as if you were in MS-DOS, which is, I don't know, an operating system that I used to use to play games when I was really, really young. But basically, in this case, ls flag L, like that, will give you the content of the folder that you are at. And you will find that you have here the desktop, in case that, like me, you have download the thing in your desktop. Obviously, if you put it elsewhere, you're gonna need to browse, so to speak. I don't know if that's the word. You're gonna need to go to that folder. But let's say that you have put it on your desktop, and so you're gonna go like cd desktop, right? You're gonna press enter. You're gonna be there, and actually you can do the very same thing in here, which is this. Oops, yep. Well, actually, it's asking me, it's requesting me access. So yeah, okay, we are desktop, which actually it's another folder that I have right here. And then I have this Splice. But here's the thing, you don't need to write the whole name. If you write the first few letters and you press your tabulator, your tab key, okay, it will write itself. So basically, once we're in there, we're going to see the content, and we're gonna check that we're gonna be able to check out that it's the very same content that I have right here. Okay, file by file. So basically, we're traveling, so to speak, to the very same place, to the very same folder, but we're doing it through the terminal. And once we're here, we're going to execute this splicecheck.js file. Now, once again, if we take a look at our little roadmap here, it says check by running node flag v. Once you have it installed in your system and you go like, well, actually another cool command here, in case you want to use it, it's clear, so it actually clears out the content, so you know you can focus on what you're writing next for real. So yeah, if you write node v, you're gonna have some version. If you have a version, that means that you got node properly installed. Once you do that, you're gonna go like node, you're going to go to node, but actually not quite yet, because we're gonna go like that again. Okay, we need to make sure of what the name of the file is. In this case, splice dash check.js, because we're gonna go like node and then once again splice. Now, if I press tab, since there are two files starting with S, P, and L, we're gonna see that the thing gives us like the very beginning, okay? And then we have to go with the rest. So now we're going to press enter and we're going to see the magic taking place. Okay, the first thing that the script is going to ask you is how you want to order the thing. Okay, I generally like my things ordered alphabetically, but you know, please do whatever you want to. And then, well, no new samples found since that date. Why is that so? Because once again, since I run the thing, okay, I already generated or got my splice-history.json generated. And ever since 26th of July 2025, which basically, well, actually, that's not even true, because this is the date and the time that I have used it now. But, you know, if I did, well, actually, I'm going to show you something real quick. Okay, I'm going to go to my local sites folder here, and I have the original JSON file in here. You're going to understand it very, very soon. The last time that I ran it for real, it was 24th of July, right? So basically, now that I have run it, the JSON date has been updated, but ever since the last actual, the last actual execution that I did of this script, of this JavaScript script, I have not downloaded anything at all. So now the cool thing would be if we go to Splice right here, and we download anything, because, you know, if it doesn't work in front of you guys, first of all, I'm not going to publish this video, and secondly, I'm going to have to take a look at how that script is working. At the moment, I don't really care. You know, I'm going to go, well, actually, this is my library already, so let's go for any sounds at all. I really, really like dark techno. There's no dark techno, so let's go for regular techno. And yes, let's download whatever like this. I'm not even gonna, well, actually, I already listened to it, but oh, this is kind of downloaded actually. I've already chosen that one. So let's go for this one, whatever it is. Okay, and as you can see, this is Melodic Loop Cathedral C minor. So all in all, you know, this has gone to my Splice folder, right? So if it's gone to my Splice folder and I go again with the, well, actually, before we check that out, we might want to remove this CSV so that things don't get, you know, like twisted, like the I don't want, supposedly I've already used this one folder to order my stuff, my samples. So this shouldn't be here, but actually I want to make a test in front of you all guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it. Let's see how, oh, actually, if you press your up arrow key, you will get the last command that you have executed in your terminal, so you don't have to write it again, right? You can like see all the history of the commands that you've been executing if you go with your up and down arrows right there. So yeah, let's run it once again. It's gonna tell me which kind of organization do I want to, and actually when I execute it, it's gonna play some magic, and there should be a new CSV file right here in my folder, right? Let's go for it. Well, at least, well, actually there is, but here's the magic, okay? It's already substitute the one that I already had. As you can see, it's logged the modification of the file, okay? It's counting the total files, and it's telling you where the report has been saved. The report has been saved here. And actually, you know, if I open, I'm gonna open it for real. Now I have only the one new file that I have downloaded. So basically, and this is already how I would organize my files. I would go and copy this line and go to my other file, which is right here. Okay, and I will include this line wherever I please. Let's put it at the end at the moment. So basically, it will go right there. Obviously, I could do some alphabetic ordering right here. But at the moment, what I want to show you is, yes, how I've brought my last update to what my Splice sample library is concerned to this CSV. So now in the next part, we're going to see how we are going to organize, how we are gonna be using this script to get all of this stuff neatly organized. And hopefully you have followed me all along, and you know, this is not looking as terrible as it should, because actually it should look like, you know, really helpful, because I mean, I'm kind of a techie, I'm kind of a geek, but I find these very, very helpful, at least to what my organization needs is concerned. So I'll see you in the next part. Okay, so after editing the last part of the video, I think that you might have gotten confused by the explanation, because it was, first of all, it was kind of messy, in all honesty, but also it didn't address how you're going to, or what you actually need to do the very first time that you run the thing, right? And actually, if we go to the roadmap, this part is about running the script for the first time. So we're going to do that indeed, okay? I'm going to hide the text edit file, and I'm going to open the folder as you would open it if it was the first time that you receive it. You would find the new splice samples.csv, and you would find in here the splice-history.json file. But actually, since it's your first time running it, okay, you're gonna want to get rid of these two files. Okay, first of all, because this is just a sample file that you don't really need at all. And then, okay, the splice-history.json file because you are, it's the first time that you're going to be running this. So basically, you don't want this at all. Then, at this moment, I'm going to do how you would probably do it, which is going to applications, then utilities, then I'm going to do the terminal. I'm going to enlarge this thing once again, Command and plus, and then I'm gonna go to the desktop, okay? Then I'm gonna go to my folder, Splice Samples Curator Script, and then I'm going to, well, actually, I'm going to show the contents of it, and then I'm going to go Node, and I'm going to go Splice. Since it's the very first time that I'm running this, and I don't have the other Splice file, which is the JSON, I just deleted it. Once I press tab, I'm not gonna have a duplicity of files, so basically the whole name is gonna stick, right? And then when I press enter, okay, but before that, wait a minute, because we are going to prepare this very, very neatly. Here, as we can see, I don't have these two files that you should delete yourself as you open the package for the first time. So basically, since I don't have a JSON, the script is going, the script doesn't know when it was the last time that it was executed. So basically now it's going to grab all the history of my Splice downloads. And that's the very same thing that is going to happen to you as you run the script for first time. So basically, if I execute now in here the thing, okay, and let's say that now I ask for a different, I don't know, like unused, okay, and I go, it's going to log every single file that I have downloaded from Splice in my whole life, right? At least in this computer. Let's see. Ta-da! Okay, so basically, I'm going to enlarge this bit. Okay, see, we have the whole 211 files now, because now it's counting on the last one, the one that I downloaded as I was doing the demonstration in the last part of this video, right? So basically, as we can see in here, okay, I do have the CSV file, and I do have now the splice-history.json file, which is telling me that it's been executed at 26th of July, whatever, 937 or something, because I guess that it's UTM, right? Like it's Central Time, because it's 4:37 in Colombia. Anyway, so the whole thing is that now I do have the 211 files that I have historically downloaded from Splice in this computer, including the very last one that I downloaded. But we cannot see it right now as the last one because it must be mixed, okay? If you remember, and we'll look for cathedral because there was a typo, here it is. Okay, here's you have cathedral. Well, since I have opened the CSV file, okay, we're gonna go through the columns right very, very quick. We said that there was a file name. We said that there was a full path, which is the path to the file itself, the modified date, and also the ASD exist file. Remember that, if I go now to, let's say that I go to my desktop right now, I'm going to close this window and I'm going to gonna go up to the top level of my Apple computer, then gonna go to SSD users and my user, and I'm gonna go to Splice, right? If we check for sounds and if we check for packs, and let's say that I go for any of the sounds that I've used in here, where would that be? Right here. Okay, for example, it says that users Aglaya, Splice, sounds, I'm reading up here, packs Afro House. So let's go for Afro House. We have Afro House right here. Okay, and actually it's saying that I haven't used this in a project. So basically the ASD file that Ableton generates shouldn't be here. So if we go down, actually, let's see if this is a one shot or what is it. It's a one shot. It says right here. So it says one shot. It says effects. Certainly, there's no ASD file. So certainly, I have not used this particular sound in Ableton so far. I hope that clarifies things a little. Okay, so now we are gonna go to that bonus part that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, in which I'm going to tell you how I would organize my files. Let's remember from the last part of the video that I just ran this script for the very first time, or as if it was my very first time running this script. And so I did generate these two files, right? New splice samples.cv and splice history.json. I shouldn't care about this one because this is just for making this splice-check.js file work properly next time that I run it. But since this part of the video is all about organization, I'm going to tell you how I would do it now that I have this CSV file right here, and it's going to open. That's it. Okay, so basically, I'm going to open it fully, and then I'm going to go to my Finder, and I'm going to clean everything else. Okay, well, if you remember, the Splice folder itself was within our hard drive, then within our users, within our user, the specific user under which we installed the Splice software, okay, and then in Splice, and then in sounds, right, and then in packs. These are all of our sounds. So basically, the first thing that I would do is I would make a hard copy of this, okay? Why? Because basically, everything that I download from Splice is gonna get in here. So I don't want to mess with this file. This is a synchronized file, so to speak, with Splice. So basically, you don't really want to mess around with this folder right here. Well, actually, you don't want to mess with this folder right here. That's why I am making a separate folder right here, in this case, on my desktop. Then I'm going to rename it. First of all, I can rename it on Apple with enter. And I'm going to call it Amapola's library, right? Amapola library, right there, for example. I don't know, or sample library, or DJ Amapola sample library. Cool. Then I'm going to open it, and I do have everything that I need in here. So basically, actually, I can close the other window because I'm not going to be using it for anything at all. Okay, then I'm going to go to my CSV, and I'm going to realize that basically here in full path, from users till packs, pretty much everything's the same, right? So I want to select that, I want to copy it, I want to replace it, that Command plus C, Command plus F, and then I'm going to take the whole root and I'm going to replace it for nothing at all, right? Actually, I'm going to choose one more slash right there so that it takes the last slash and gets rid of it. And I'm going to replace 210 results, right? Fun, cool. Well, no, not that way, but this way. Okay, replace all. Ta-da! So basically, right now I have the very last part of the path, right? Like the folders that Splice generate, but not the folders that are in my computer by default. So basically, now that I have this, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna see, let me close here, I'm gonna see which one of these I have used for whatever reason, and which I haven't. Actually, there should be an option right here, no, and I can do like a quick filter. Filtro rápido is quick filter. So basically, the first thing that I can do is I can come here, okay, and see which ones are false. And actually, I would delete these because, you know, if I don't use them, if I don't use these samples on the spot, I won't probably ever use them again, right? It's like, you know, something when I'm that's my modus operandi, so to speak, the way I work. If I download, I don't know, 5 different things to test them out, to try them out, and only one works, and I eventually work my track with that one sample, I will not probably use the other 4 for anything at all. Or if I use them, they would be already used. So basically, the first thing that I can do is like I can go to, I'm going to go to Finder again. Okay, here's my thingy. And then, for example, that Afro something, I'm not using it, right? Let's check again. I'm talking about this one. Maybe you cannot see it from the distance, but that's better. Okay, Afro House, Jeff, whatever. I'm not using it. Aurora, I'm not using it. Berserk, I'm not using it. So basically, I would get rid of that Afro House, and I would get rid of this Aurora thing, and then Berserk. I'm not using Berserk anymore anyhow, so I don't know where that can be. Berserk, oh, actually, I need to organize this better. Berserk Trap, that's right, Bouncy Tech, etc., 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 right? Wait a minute, Bouncy Tech House right there. So basically, this way, I'm deleting everything that I don't really want to have here, and it's just occupying some space in my hard drive with no meaning whatsoever. That's one of the things that you can do in order to get your mess tidy. The second thing that you can do is actually you can read some of the file names. But let me go here. Now I'm going to do, let's say that, I have already deleted all of these. So let's say that I delete them. I delete them because I don't want to keep track of them. I'm actually going to get rid of the rows as well, right here. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is, well, actually I want to change the filter. I want to change the filter like so. Okay, and these are the ones that I have somehow used. So the first thing that you may want to do, and actually I'm going to get this column narrow even if I don't see the full path of the files right now, or this one. Well, not this one because I want to work with this one now. But the next thing that you can do is actually, you can like create different columns, right? Like, I don't know, for example, you want to say what mood every sample has, or how the flavor, the taste, the feel. Maybe you want the key, and maybe you want the tempo, and maybe you want some many other things, like for example you want to know what project they belong to. And obviously the first time that you do this, it's going to be really terrible because you're gonna have, for example, right now I have right here, let's see how many, 178 samples to listen to and to classify. But if I do this periodically, okay, I'm only gonna have to curate the ones that I have downloaded. So basically, if I make this into some sort of Sunday evening session with myself, at some point I'm gonna have a library which is organized by mood, by key, by everything else, and it's already in my computer, right? And I'm somehow getting rid. Actually, something that you may want to do is to get rid of the files which you haven't used. I mean, if you work like me, if you don't use the files that you don't use on the spot while working on a project, okay, you may also want to go to, let's say, wait a minute, let me go to my Finder, and then I'm going to close this window, which is, remember, DJ Amapola's sample library, right? And I'm going to go to my Apple top level folder. Then I'm gonna go down, down, and down, and I'm gonna get to Splice Sounds Packs. Okay, well, I remember that we deleted Afro something and we deleted Aurora something. Actually, I'm gonna need to order this as well. We deleted Berserk and we deleted Bounce Tech House. So basically, that's like, let's say, 47 megabytes. Okay, then I'm not going to be using probably. If I need them, okay, I will go to Splice. In Splice, they will show up as previously downloaded. So basically, they won't cost me another credit to download. And once I drag it to my project, they will appear here. And then, since my script will locate them again, okay, they will appear in my new CSV, new generated CSV, and I will be able to curate them. I will be able to organize them as well. But at the moment, I don't really want them here. So actually, I could delete them from here as well, okay? And that's double order already because, I'm freeing my hard drive of files and folders that doesn't need. And I'm also curating here my own library, which is what I actually use. And if I ever run out of internet for whatever random reason or anything, I can always use the offline library that I have. I would be also able to use this one if I go offline, obviously. Okay, but in here, once again, I shouldn't touch anything, right? Whereas in here, okay, if I don't like these 3-step essential, which is the next step to what organization is concerned, okay? Let's say 3-step essentials right here. Let's look for it. I think it's separated like that. Yep. Here we are. It's a conga loop, something, okay? But I don't want to have it very deep within this whole path. I could have just like, for example, let's come here once again and let's make this bigger so that you can actually see something, okay? This can go into loops, obviously, okay? I don't need 3-step essentials for anything, okay? I just need to know that, well, I may want to classify them as percussion, then there are loops, and instead of this, whatever it is, this code, okay, this Splice code, I may want to go to my, sorry, excuse me, wait a minute, here, okay, and then I'm not going to need this, I'm not, loops. We said that we would put loops, okay, within perk. So the folder above, and actually you may want to see them this way so that you know, it's easier for you to understand. Loops, we said that we were going to put it in perk, right? Well, what happened here? Perk. Okay, percussion, and then therefore this one folder, we don't need it for anything. So okay, let's bring it here. The wherever we place it within our hard drive, we can recover it if it's well organized. So basically what we're going to do is, and actually this doesn't really matter because Ableton is dragging, so to speak, information from this one. So as long as you don't affect this one, Ableton is going to perfectly locate your folders and files, right? But in here, you are curating your own sample library. So you should be able to do anything you want with it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to delete the ASD file because it's of no use anymore. And then you're going to grab the WAV file, which is what you actually want to get, right? What you actually want to keep. You're going to put it in loop. You're not going to need this folder for anything. You can delete it as well. And then basically now you have perk, loops, and the file itself. But it's still here in 3-step essential whatever that we don't want to have. So what are we gonna do? We can drop this. This percussion, okay, in here. The only thing is that since they are all folders, I'm gonna have a bit of a trouble if I like that, okay? And now if I look, oh, sorry, wait a minute. If I go like in here, perk, okay, now we have perk, loops, and the one file, right? If I listen to it, it's kind of, you know, a happy conga percussion kind of thing. Okay, so basically, maybe I want to read the code, read the file name that Splice gives, because sometimes it has, I guess that 117, I should confirm that. I'm going to go on a limb here. But this 117, I guess that it's tempo, and since it's percussion, it's not probably tuned to anything in particular, or if it is, well, I don't care for, you know, to these examples purpose. So I'm gonna say that this is definitely, I don't know, I'm going to imagine that it's 117 BPM, and then I'm going to say that it's conga, and then I'm gonna say that it's a conga loop, obviously, and well, and I shouldn't be even using any sort of anything because it's kind of heavy to write like that, or, you know, annoying. So basically this is going to be my conga loop 117 beats per minute. And that's about it, you know. And right now I'm going to go to my CSV and I'm going to say that this is not, well, actually, in order to make it easier, I'm going to copy it from my folder and I'm going to go here and I'm going to say that this is it, okay? And not even, because since, you know, the file name itself, it's to the left, I could either leave the full path right there, and then in here I can paste the name of the file, right, and the extension in case that I want to keep it. That's yes, if you'd like to do so. Then the ASD exists. No, not anymore. Well, actually it does, because, you know, this makes reference once again to the Splice folder itself rather than anything else. I don't mind having the modified date in here because it's kind of, it gives me a hint on the time that I've used it somehow. Actually, you may, I don't know if this is going to work, but at some point you can change the date in here. No, I didn't think so. It's difficult to, actually you could use like ChatGPT or something to change all these timestamps in something more readable, but I don't really care. What I really want to know is the name of the file, where to find it easily in my own library, not in Splice's library. Okay, and then if I've used it in a project, but remember, these columns is doing reference, is referring to the Splice library, not my own library. And then maybe I want to write here something like, I don't know, it's a happy vibe kind of thing. And it doesn't really, I don't really care about the vibe because it's just like percussion. And we've decided that it was 117. And I will have probably used this one in my bullerengue, okay, which is like Afro-Caribbean folk techno kind of music. Okay, well, obviously, I wouldn't go on a link with all of those things. I would have them properly checked before I put all the information here. But basically, this way, all in all, if I take the time, I can do a catalog of what I actually have in my computer, and after some iterations, it will be perfectly aligned. The next time that I run my scripts, I don't know, after a week when I've downloaded like 50 other samples, I will have those samples in a different CSV file generated by my script. I will copy those 50 rows of information. I will bring them down here. I will curate those 50 new samples. Okay, and once again, I will have a properly organized database of the samples that I have in my computer. And I don't know. Obviously, it's a matter of organization. I guess that at some point you need to organize your samples, you need to organize your files. And what this script does, and what this whole experiences teaches us, is that there's something out there which makes much more simple to carry this kind of organization. And it's this script that I've crafted myself and that I hope that at some point you enjoy. And let me know if you use it. If you like this whole story, please subscribe and follow me on Spotify or whatever music platform you like to use, because pretty much I guess that I'm out there in every one of them thanks to DistroKid. This is not, by the way, any endorsement, but I'm really happy with that. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think in your comments, if this was of any use to you, and if you think it's very complicated, if you have some ideas that I can implement within the software. Obviously, at some point, I would like to have this whole thing set up in some sort of application or something, and maybe, I don't know, if Splice got an API that I can connect or something, and I don't know, that's kind of dreaming awake, awake dreaming, would you say? Anyway, it's been a pleasure. I know that it's been long as hell, but hopefully it will all make sense to you. Keep producing, keep dropping music, and be very happy. Love, peace. The Amapola reporting from Colombia. Cheers.